Department of Veteran Affairs for their community outreach to our veterans.
We're on the Rocky Hill campus of the Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs. We have 92 acres here to support our veterans both on campus and off campus.
Very cold, it's in the 20s, but great day for a run.
I'm here to run for the Veterans Day race. I am a veteran of the United States Air Force, and I have several friends that are coming today that are also veterans.
We specifically wanted to do this run because our grandfather was a veteran. He was in World War II, so we thought it was just very fitting to come and kind of honor him with this race.
I heard about it through one of the websites at my son's school. It's a racing website for Connecticut, so I looked for events specifically for veterans events for this day. I saw the opportunity and I registered us, and here we are.
My grandfather served in the Vietnam War, and I'm dedicating this one to him.
My husband Richard and I decided to sponsor this year's event to say thank you to all of our veterans. My husband Richard is a Vietnam veteran, and the two of us have a long history supporting the AT&T Veterans Employee Resource Group. And in fact, Richard was one of the founding members. So we're proud to be here today and to support this inaugural event for the veterans.
The goal is really to get as much fundraising and donations as possible so we can give back to the veterans community in Connecticut and New England.
And this, though, supports our veterans not just by bringing attention to their service, but also financially. AT&T and Cricket Wireless are one of the community partners that we have here that help us accomplish our collective mission of serving those who have served, our veterans.
I think it's important for us all to take the time to show respect and pay respect and say thank you to our veterans. Our veterans made the ultimate sacrifice, and it's important that we take the time to pay respect and say thank you.
Now, I'd like to thank all the veterans that participate in the activities today, all the volunteers, and thank all the veterans for serving. Appreciate everybody for honoring this special day.
It's a great way to honor our veterans on Veterans Day, and people of all ages came from all over the state, and really on a brutally cold day went out there and covered that 3-mile course with such enthusiasm, and so I just thought it was a great way to get this inaugural race going. This is 35th anniversary for AT&T Veterans Organization. We're looking for a signature event that we could use to raise money to support veterans causes. I put together a team of people. They worked with the commissioner's team and did an incredibly successful race.
Government can't do it all alone. This agency is blessed with supporters, volunteers, donors, whether veteran service organizations, community-based nonprofits, corporate partners. We can't do our job in serving those who served without support like this, and the support of AT&T, Cricket Wireless, and your team to our outreach mission and our mission here on campus and across the state, because it's not just about what happens here at Rocky Hill, but it's about the nearly 200,000 other veterans who are across our state of Connecticut.
Phenomenal that in the first year we were successful and able to raise enough money to give some money to your outreach program.
The first annual Veterans Day Charity 3-miler was a labor of love based on the success of the race. AT&T Veterans would like to present Commissioner a check for half the proceeds of net proceeds. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate the support that we get from Everybody for Veterans. There's a lot of people that step up without being asked. Good evening. The videos we just showed you, there's a basis behind that. AT&T Veterans, the organization I deal with, and the Department of Veteran Affairs, we work in conjunction to put on a race every year. Last year was the first inaugural race, so we put on a race annually now at the Department of Veteran Affairs in Rocky Hill. We're going to put up on the screen a sign-up website where you can go sign up to run in the race. It's a run walk. That's the address to reach the race chairperson. but there's a sign-up website that will get put up there. It's run.com, I believe it, but we'll get that put up on the screen in a few. But you can also reach out to Mary Beth Hawkins at this email address. What we're looking to do is we want to sign up as many runners as we can. The race is on November 10th, 2018 at the Rocky Hill facility. The slots will fill up fast, so if you want to come and support the veterans, sign up at the race website today, and we'll get you on there. So it's just an event that we do to give back to the veterans in the community. Last year, our first inaugural race, we raised just under $6,000 that were split between the outreach programs that my organization does and that the Department of Veteran Affairs does. So let's talk about snakes. Okay, I have a guest with me this evening. Okay, I have Mark Lounsbury. Mark, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Snakes.
Mark spent his weekend last weekend. Let's talk about
Snakes.
how Mark spends his time. So last weekend, and he can give you the more details of how it came about, but as I saw a picture, Mark had a snake issue last weekend. Most people, it was approximately between a 6 and a 7 foot black.
5 and 6.
Okay, 5 and 6. It looked bigger in the pictures.
Biggest snake I've seen on the loose in years.
So the snake got itself stuck, and most people would have terminated the snake. No, not Mark. Mark's a little touched. So Mark's focus was, how do I release this snake that's stuck? And he can give you a little bit more details to it. So the snake go out and do what the snake is supposed to do. It's a black rat snake. It needs to go out and get rid of all the vermin. You know, the mice and the rats and the other moles and voles and all the critters. So Mark's going to tell you, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Mark, but Mark's going to tell you exactly what he found and how you found the snake.
Well, folks, my wife went to our compost little bin we have, and she went to throw some stuff in the composting bin because we do compost. She came back in the house and said, "There's a snake in there." And I was like, well, no big deal. Little gardener snake. I'll go out and get it. Well, what I found was a snake through the vent holes. He was partially out of the vent hole. There was about a foot plus of him sticking out. And I'm like, going, okay, he'll kind of work his way out. Apparently what happened was he was in there, had gotten some mice in there, as I later determined from evidence inside the bin. And he had gotten in there for the mice and had the mice. And apparently when my wife showed up and opened up, panicked, he got stuck. So I look inside the inside of the bin, there's another 4+ foot of snake inside there. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna give this some time. First we had to determine what type of snake he was. And they do bite, they don't have fangs, and it's not a good idea to be bitten by one, of course. So we let him we kind of gave him a little, greased him up, hopefully thinking that when he calmed down, he would be able to get out. We let him sit overnight. And the next day he was still there. So Plan B came into effect, and we tried to use a little Crisco, me and the wife, and she's a brave woman. She was handling this snake, and I was very impressed.
She was handling the head end.
Yeah, she was holding on to the head at first. Well, eventually when I was getting it out, but she's afraid of spiders. So this was a big snake. So we kind of tried a little Crisco, and we tried to see if we could get him to go out forward. Of course, the scales work in one direction, and he wouldn't go back out the other way. So got some drill bits, got some paddle bits, went out, cut a hole around the hole to make it bigger, and then I was able to kind of cut along one edge and took them all out and got the plastic off them, took it to the wood line. It was a sunny day, so it was a little bit warmer. He warmed up. My wife wanted to take some pictures. Took some pictures, and that's pretty much the story. He was off and running, so he's back doing his job.
So most people, their time's very valuable. Okay, you spent a considerable portion of your weekend trying to free a snake. Let's be honest, most people would have killed the snake.
Yeah,
that's what most people would have done. They would have been afraid of the snake, and they would have killed the snake, not thinking what benefit the snake provides to the general community.
Yeah, I can't do that. I mean, The snake is part of the ecosystem. Yeah, I'm a Republican and I'm a conservative, but despite popular opinion about conservatives, we don't hate the planet Earth. We're not trying to turn it into a global warming mess. Oh, is that for me? We are, you know, for the most part, like everybody else, and a lot of conservative people like myself, I care about the planet. I do things. Like I said, we have our bins and so forth. And there's a balance in nature. And I couldn't kill the snake. I mean, he has a purpose. He's obviously been around for a while. And he's keeping the animals out of my house.
That caught my attention because you're running for office. You're running for the 19th Senate District.
Yes, I am.
I've had several, during the political season, I have several different candidates throughout the season on the show. And what I talk about with the viewers is this is somebody who wants to represent you in Hartford, okay? Mark feels that he can represent you better than his opponent. Now, you gotta wonder, how smart is he really? Because it's the political season. I'm gonna be very, I'm brutally honest. I don't rehearse the questions with any of the candidates.
Hit me.
But in the beginning of your political season, you're working to get qualified for CEP.
Yes.
And you basically spent 2 days of what everybody was telling you. You should be out knocking on doors. You should be out soliciting contributions. You put the priority of the ecosystem and the snake above other stuff that many people would have said you should have been doing.
I wouldn't give myself that much credit.
Well, is that what you did?
You can multitask. There's other things I can do. We assessed.
So did you get a contribution from the snake?
Unfortunately, he's in district, but no.
He couldn't sign the forms?
Didn't have opposable thumbs. But you know, it was kind of like a project thing. You know, we came out, we assessed him. It was warmer. He was still active. We let him stew for a while, gave him the opportunity to take care of matters on his own. That didn't work. We came back and it was like, okay, now we have to address this. But I'm still staying busy. I'm still doing everything I possibly can.
But your focus is at the bigger picture. That's the point I'm trying to make. Your focus at the bigger picture. There were more important things going on in your yard at the time where there was a quicker solution to this.
Yes, there was.
But not as beneficial to the environment, not as beneficial to the ecosystem in your neighborhood, not as beneficial to the snake. So you put the priorities of the local environment ahead of personal.
Well, I understand there's not balance in nature. Nature's very important. We all must understand that. I'm on Little River, and we have beaver on Little River, and they're getting out of control. Now, they are unchecked because their natural predators are on the comeback. There was a sighting a couple years ago of a couple of mountain lions in the neighborhood. It was my mail lady driving by. I'm throwing my Frisbee with my dog. And she drives by, I wave, she drives back, she stops. She's like, "Did you see the mountain lions?" And I'm like, "No." "Where were they?" "In the yard right behind you." I'm like, "God, well, thank God they weren't hungry." But they are needed to keep a balance. When there's not a balance, things get all out of whack. And pretty much that's me. It's balance. You need to have a balance.
So is that what's going on in Hartford now? Is we're out of balance?
We are out of balance.
Okay. So explain. This will be a nice segue. And for the viewers, what I tell them is I said, hey, this is your opportunity to meet this individual. They have to make a decision.
Yes.
Is Mark someone that I want to have more of a relationship with? So this is kind of like kind of like speed dating. People are going to get to see a little bit of you, about an hour. They're going to get to make a decision. Is this somebody who I think could do this? Do I want to have further conversations? Are we going to go out again?
Gotcha.
That kind of thing. So that's the point that I throw out to them. So explain. Well, and if you have a bad relationship with a politician who represents you, the same as if you have a bad relationship dating, you probably need to break up.
Exactly.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it's not that easy in politics.
Well, and let's be honest, because
this is breakup season.
If you look at
time for new dating.
The Tarzan syndrome, you know what? People don't want to let go of the person that they're dating until they have somebody else to latch onto.
I see.
You could be that one in the 19th district. They could let go of one,
On that rope.
latch out, reach your hand out to Mark,
On the
swing
rope.
on the next vine, and explain the balance that you see that's out of whack in Hartford.
The big issues here in Connecticut, of course, are all financial, and it's a one-sided. I don't want to sound like party-wise, but it's become a party issue, and the Democrats have control. The Democrats dictate which bills come out of committee and go on to the House because they have to pass through a panel of Democrats before they get to the House for further consideration. So it's their entire show. They own it. There's no balance. They know they have the upper hand, and they're using it against pretty much us, the people of the state of Connecticut. Tax, spend, borrow, repeat. To give you some example, as things stand right now, there are two budget proposals. There's a Democrat proposal, and there's a Republican proposal. Connecticut had a windfall, some money came back into the country, repatriated for Connecticut. It was $900 million. So now you take that money into account when you're working on this budget, and the Democrats have come up with a budget where they've spent that money, they've cut other things, they've cut educational cost sharing, they cut a lot of services, and on top of that, they added another $230 million in taxes for spending. Now, they spend it, but then they have to figure out where they're going to get the money to cover the money they spent. That's putting the horse before the cart.
So like, let's go out and buy a house and try to find a job so we can make the mortgage payment.
Exactly.
Because
It's
sometimes the problem with some voters, and now I'm not trying to attack anybody, is the decisions they make in the voting booth are not the decisions that they would make in their personal life.
exactly.
And they have to begin to look at who they elect in the same way they look at their personal decisions. Would I hire this person to do this work for me based upon their record? Probably not. So then why would I hire them to go to Hartford and make decisions that are going to impact my life on a daily basis?
Yes, they're impacting even more people.
So you're a politician today.
I am now.
What did you do before you became a politician in your previous
Previous life.
adventures?
I had a career in law enforcement. I worked for the Norwich, Connecticut Police Department.
Okay, and what did you do there?
I did everything. I was on patrol for about 12 years, and then I went to the detective division, and I was there for about 12 years. I was a crime prevention officer, and my duties there included I worked with the elderly against scams, and I did speeches, and I went to events. I worked with the school system for safety issues, physical security of the buildings, the way people should work together and make use of what they have for everybody's own safety. I worked with the financial institutions. I was a liaison. I took on all the fraud cases along those lines. I was also on the front side. I was the computer crimes in the internet child crime unit. That was me.
You were the unit.
I was the unit, and
'Cause it's a small police department.
Yes, it is. And branching out from my dealings with protecting the senior citizens from scams and schemes, I, of course, then started handling all the financial cases associated with that. Had a lot of good ones. I was able to reach out. I didn't have a big resource base, but I was able to work with other people in other departments and other agencies to take care of these people. So I had my hands full. And I got all the T-shirts.
You got all the T-shirts?
I got all the T-shirts, all the police T-shirts.
What's amazing, because as we get out of certain things, we stop wearing T-shirts.
Yeah, I don't wear them. They're in the drawer. I keep them in the closet.
In law enforcement, and when I look at people, I think, who do I want to be in Hartford or in City Hall to represent my interest?
Yes.
What did they do beforehand? Were they looking out for other people's interests beforehand? Because all of a sudden, if they were a hedge fund manager, they were really looking out for their own interests to line their pockets.
Right.
Magically, what are they going to do when they get into politics? They're going to be looking to keep their own pockets lined. So, you clearly became a police officer because of all the money. That's how you get
definitely.
rich.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
You become a police officer.
Absolutely.
Like joining the military. People join the military to become rich.
I did.
That's not why they do it. Okay.
I had another job. I worked at Millstone Power Plant, and I took a huge pay cut to become a police officer. So, but of course, still the money was just outstanding. Yeah,
So,
it was to serve.
as a police officer, it's one of those public service jobs where you're
It's to serve.
basically you're out there doing something that you believe in more than you believe in the money.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely, there's nothing about money, and it wasn't about promotion. Some people come into jobs, and especially like in law enforcement, there's opportunities. Some people come in because they want to be the chief. You know, I came in and I wanted to work with people. I actually wanted to stay in patrol and be badge number 1 in patrol so I could continue to serve. I was invited into the detective division on a short-term basis to solve some cases.
Just come over and help out?
Just come on, just a couple of weeks. So I went back and was able to bring to the adjudication of a robbery spree and made an arrest. And I was like finishing up my paperwork. And I'm like, that was fun. I'm gonna go back to patrol.
Go back to the
And
streets.
Then came a pile of burglaries, a burglary spree. Here, why don't you work on this for a while?
Take a look at this for us,
Take a
yeah.
look at this. So that was a good one because I worked that for I think it was around a month. It was 20 some odd burglaries, and I got the guy.
So,
got the guy.
but still, basically, you were in detective bureau for temporary. It was like 12 years, right?
Yeah, pretty much. What happened was it was the invite. I guess I passed the test and got my gold shield.
And after 12 years, they said, "Hey, thanks for volunteering."
Yeah, it was a tough. It was a lot of work, and because I'm trying to help and I'm trying to make a difference. It becomes I could only do so much, and I had run out of gas. I was like, time to retire and take a breather.
So, tell everybody that's watching, because this doesn't cover every town in your district, but some of the people know people that are in your district
Yes.
that will be voting.
Most definitely.
And they do talk.
People do talk.
How do you feel that what you've done, okay, you worked at Millstone, you worked as a police officer,
I was a lifeguard at Ocean Beach Park in New London too.
you could become mayor in New London.
I know the mayor of New London. Mike Passero was my.
And he was a lifeguard.
He was my boss.
As the head of lifeguards.
When I came on, he was number 2, and then he became the boss. Mike
He was the head
Yes,
lifeguard.
yes,
That's
sir.
right. Okay.
I worked for him. I worked for
So?
the city of New London. Had a couple of saved a few lives there. So, that
So
was,
how does your experience in life up to this point uniquely qualify you to go to Hartford and represent the people of the 19th District? What sets you apart? Why should they choose you? Why should they date you for the next 2-year period of time and dump the current person they're seeing?
me compared to the current.
Yeah, what uniquely qualifies you?
Well,
Let's not really attack. Let's.
No.
What
Well,
makes you the person to see?
I understand the job as representing the people. It's not about me, it's about them. It's about what they need, what they want.
Okay.
It's a duty. When I take on the position, it's a duty. It's my responsibility. I am there to legislate laws to make their lives better, not to make them worse. If you read the Constitution, the Connecticut's Constitution is set up basically, it's to take care of the people of the state in an overall fashion, and that's not what's being done right now. And if you're in a position of authority and you have majority in the state legislature and the Senate, it's your responsibility. Now you'll ultimately have the responsibility to make sure you take care of the people of your state,
Be able
of your
to fix
district.
things when you have control.
You shouldn't be making them worse. I mean, that's the difference. Things are getting worse. The budget I was just explaining, proposal of the Democrat Party, there's been 3 previous budgets that have been huge tax increases, cuts in services, which were signed by my opponent. And I don't believe that's what the job is. It's not at all. And it's a duty, it's a responsibility to the people, to my district, to the people of the state.
So what do you think the number one issue in Hartford that needs to be addressed, that's not being addressed currently?
It's funny you
There's
ask.
probably a whole lot.
It's funny
but
you
let's
ask
Let's
that.
start at the top and work our way down.
Look at where we are. We're at the point where we have a budget and it goes to the Appropriations Committee to get funded. Now, that's not being done. Money is the issue. Everything relies on money. Programs, projects, services, and they're avoiding it. They're avoiding the issues of funding. And what are they doing? Well, they're looking at, they have a ton of legislation, bump stocks. They just passed legislation for non-citizen college, money, grants.
Right.
They're-
Scholarship or financial aid for undocumented.
I call them. They're non-citizens. I mean, it's undocumented and illegal.
But
They're
then,
not
see, you're a
citizens.
police officer, so when you would arrest, have you ever arrested a drug dealer? I mean, an undocumented pharmacist?
An unlicensed pharmacist.
No,
Yes.
undocumented.
Undocumented
The license would be their documents, right?
Okay.
Okay. The pharmacist down at CVS got a document on the wall that says he's a pharmacist.
He's a pharmacist.
So, have you ever arrested any undocumented pharmacists?
Numerous.
And that's okay. Their undocumentation is all right. But that's another whole issue.
I was going to say we're going to.
That's another whole issue.
We're going
That's
down,
another whole
we're
issue.
going down the rabbit
So,
hole.
all right. So, funding, money is the big issue. So
Of course it is.
How would you go about? Well, let's say you get elected. The people out there say, "Listen, I'm going to date Mark for the next 2 years, see how it goes." Okay. If things are going well, we'll continue to dance. Okay.
That's
But in the
long-term
next,
relationship.
in the
here.
next, I know you're looking for a long-term relationship.
Long-term
It's
I'm getting older.
right. And you don't have
Settle
time
down.
for all this.
I have to settle down.
So you're going to settle. You're going to settle down and represent the people of the 19th district. When you get to Hartford, money's the big issue, the budget and funding. So what should be done, in your estimation? What's the block to moving forward in success?
I don't have to create that. It's there. There are manners. There's the Republicans' budget. It's a step forward to moving in the proper direction. I'm there to co-sponsor and or at least to vote in favor of proper financial handling of the money of this state and to make things go. I'm part. I'm
Fiscal
a
responsibility.
cog. I'm a cog. I'm not the superstar. I've seen a number of great plans and how they're laid out. Some are fantabulous. I stand behind them. I need to look further into that. That's where in government you're presented with, a budget proposal and how it's drafted and what's the minutia, interactions, et cetera. But there are people out there that have been dealing with this, and it's just a matter of getting enough people behind them and support to push forward a good, fiscally responsible budget, one that looks to the future, that thinks of the children, their education, our roads.
Right, you have a background. You have a background in working with the kids in school. So, when you get elected, and you go to Hartford, what committees would you think you'd be best suited to serve on?
Me personally, God, see, now I'm going to get myself in trouble again because I'll probably
No,
get
it's not
caught.
necessarily.
I'll probably get caught up in a number of committees. I think.
But what do you feel you're best suited for?
Well, I appreciate like health and welfare. I mean, I do.
Okay.
I mean, there's some. It's a costly. There's a lot of costly legislation and programs that go along with that. So it's important to get to address that. Yeah, education is another
Well,
one.
let's digress there on health, okay? Health and Human Services. And this stands out to me. You probably saw the article in the New London Day where they had the shuttle services for Medicaid patients.
Yes.
Okay? And they have the person being picked up in New London in a Lincoln Town car.
Yeah.
Okay? that can't really be the most cost-effective way to transport people.
No, it's not.
What if, would you be opposed to it? And I thought about this, you know, why couldn't the state, they spend millions and millions, why couldn't they, would Uber really be a problem?
You know what? It's funny you mentioned Uber.
Or Lyft?